Marcus phoned, as he usually does, during a conference. He tries to phone when he's just finished a presentation or when he's finished talking to people. So on that particular day, he phoned just around lunchtime and said that he felt strange. He said he felt dizzy. So Marcus doesn't tend to look after himself or think about basic needs when he's in the middle of a conference. So I asked whether he'd had anything to eat that day. And he said he wasn't sure, he didn't think he had. So I suggested he got something to eat. And we kind of left it at that. I said I'd felt dizzy the previous day too, so sugar had helped me, so maybe if he had some sugar and some fresh air, that might help him. That was about 1 o'clock. And then we didn't hear from him again until about 3:15, and he phoned and spoke to me and said, "Jen, don't laugh, but I think something's happened to me." And Marcus quite often plays tricks like that on people, so I laughed and said, "Stop being silly, what do you want?" And he said, no, I'm being serious. How do I get a presentation on the big screen? So I said, well, F5. Try pressing Control F5, Marcus. And he said, "What's F5? I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Jen, I think something serious has happened to me. I think I've had a stroke." And I said, "Well, Marcus, if you've had a stroke, then you don't need to be giving a presentation. You need to get yourself to hospital." And he said, no, I've got to give a presentation. I've got 2 minutes. How do I get onto the screen? What's F5? So I said, "Marcus, it's the buttons along the top of the keyboard." And he said, "I can't see F. What is it?" So in the end, we had to count in 6 buttons. I said, "Press, it's the 6th button along from the left-hand side." He said, "I can't do it, I can't find it." And at which point I thought, okay, maybe he's having a panic attack or something. So I put him through to Alison.
Yeah, I came into the office and you were on the phone to Jen.
And then phoned up Frimley, Siemens building in Frimley, where he was presenting. And the staff there were great. They put me through to security who knew where the conference was taking place. I spoke to the security guy and said, "My colleague seems to be having some sort of funny turn. He's saying he thinks he's had a stroke. It sounds like something's not right, and he's really panicking. He's about to give a presentation."
And I spoke to you and said, "You're not doing that wrap-up session. Speak to Matthew. You're not doing it. You can't." By which time first aid arrived and took you off. That was it.
And then the next thing we knew was about half an hour later, Matthew from the Institute of Fire Engineers phoned to say that Marcus had been taken care of. Security had found him, they'd assessed him, and they'd taken him to Frimley Hospital, which was just down the road.
Here, that's the. Hang on, let's sort of see. So that's the front of my head, is it?
So this is the back of your head.
Right.
This is the parietal lobe.
Yeah.
And as you come up, you can see the hemorrhage dissipates now, and this is the front of your head up here.
Yeah.
That's relatively preserved. Yeah.
No, that's just the bone.
Okay.
Right.
Just don't put me on TED.
And then when I arrived, you were being assessed by, I think she was probably quite a senior nurse because she was filling in all the forms and things. And then the consultant arrived. Matthew stayed the whole time, which was good. And she was testing all your reflexes and your vision. And it was the vision that what concerned you a lot because you lost your peripheral vision in one side in particular, which was a concern because of driving.
Yeah.
And seeing. You couldn't see your phone, let alone know how to use it.
Yeah.
So.
Really, I couldn't see it.
Well, no, you couldn't see the numbers. You couldn't actually relate the numbers. So, what is a number 3? You couldn't relate what the picture of a 3 was to what a number 3 was. So nothing related. So yeah, you didn't know your numbers, you wouldn't know your letters, you couldn't read, you couldn't do any of these things. So, and newspapers was nothing like that. Although you wanted to see them because of gradually learning.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So
Must have been
it's,
quite scary.
yeah.